Hello everyone, this is a bit of a bittersweet update concerning both the Super Saiyan 3 bootleg as well as Super Saiyan God bootleg, which, just worth mentioning, they have mostly identical bodies in this case, not counting the neck peg in this case. So that allowed me to do a little more of a more thorough side-by-side comparison to figure out what was going on there. And I unfortunately came to a very important conclusion involving the joint that holds both the upper and lower bodies together. Namely, this light one is the Super Saiyan God one, and the dark one there, you can see that's backwards. As it turns out, I've been trying to fix a backwards joint this whole time here, and that would explain why nothing fit properly in the original figure. And unfortunately, that means everything I've been doing to try to fix that one up to fit this joint has been a bit of a pointless endeavor, I'm afraid. I've done too much damage on the Super Saiyan 3 body in this case to get it ever to fit properly again as it should be. So I decided to cut my losses, and I took a lot of the functional joints between that older figure, and I'm putting them in this newer bootleg here, so at least I can get a more functional Super Saiyan God bootleg. Not to completely lose everything in the meanwhile. And for the most part, that's been working pretty well so far. Namely, one of the big issues, that knee joint, I've actually completely swapped it out for a more functional version on the Super Saiyan 3 bootleg. So although it is a different color, it is technically functional, and it's mostly concealed, so I don't mind too terribly. The shoulder issue that was on the upper body earlier, I think it was the left shoulder, I've replaced the joint entirely. I also had to actually replace a neck peg for this figure because the Super Saiyan God one, the original one on there, actually snapped on me. So now we have one that can fit more heads on there, so that's a good change. And another thing I'm doing to kind of fix some of the looser joints, they were functional but just really loose, like the butterfly joint here, as I'm using this Revell Professional Glue for plastics to basically redo the whole super glue finish sort of setup in order to pour some there, move the joint intermittently to keep it from locking up, and that way they're a lot tighter than they used to be. So I'm doing that for the upper shoulder there. I also did it for the inside ball socket because I noticed that was also a little bit loose. And I'm also doing a little bit on the kind of middle joint here that holds the upper and lower body together because, as you might remember from the original bootleg video, that popped right off right outside of the packaging. Not even in the box, it was already apart. So I'm doing this to make it so it's at least a little harder there. I know since none of these joints are exactly perfectly assembled, it's still going to pop off from time to time, but at least it's a much better fit now, it feels like. And I also did a little bit of the same for some of the other joints on both sides on there. So all in all, I can honestly say the Super Saiyan God bootleg does feel a lot better now in this case. It's able to hold its positions a lot better. The middle torso there, it doesn't pop up off as often at least. There are some issues with popping here and there, as we're going to probably see in the video in a second. Namely, I find the leg joints, even on the other bootleg, did have a nasty habit of popping off. And it still does that from time to time, but it still clicks in nice and solid. So as long as you're not turning it too much, everything tends to hold its place pretty well and will keep in place. All in all, I'm pretty happy with where this particular bootleg has landed up at this point. And there's only a few other things I'm going to consider kind of modifying further in this case. Namely, a little bit of a super glue mod, or at least a continuation of the modification for a few joints that are still a little loose at this time. I feel the shoulders could be adjusted a little more. Those leg joints at the hips do pop out a bit too much, as well as kind of the torso joint for that matter could use a little more. Another thing I want to adjust on there maybe is do something about the decals. They're actually a little low quality in terms of what's on there right now. I don't know if I want to just remove them outright or just replace them with another set. That's something to consider. And another thing, since I already have the Super Saiyan 3 head anyway, is maybe I'll look up some reviews in order to figure out how to do the opposite of what I've been doing in the first place and modify the Super Saiyan 3 head to fit on a normal body. And I'll make this my de facto body for the Super Battle Collection Volume 0 remake. But that'll be for another time. Thanks for watching. Catch y'all later.